And welcome to the Watchman. It's hard to believe, but it's already been 2 years since what I consider one of the darkest episodes in the history of U.S. foreign policy unfolded. It was August 2021 when the United States completed a disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan that, in the process, saw 13 U.S. service members killed in a terror attack, left an untold number of U.S. citizens behind, and ultimately paved the way for the Taliban's stunning return to power, all as America's adversaries around the world looked on with glee. Among those forced to live under a brutal Taliban regime was Afghanistan's small Christian community. Folks, I can't think of many places where it's more dangerous to be a follower of Jesus. But as Don Shenk of the Tide Ministry shares, Christians in Afghanistan and across South Asia continue to do just that in the face of incredible danger. Take a look. Don, it is great to have you here with us on the Watchman Show. Hey, at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention in Orlando, Florida. But we're talking about a place today that is far from Orlando in many ways, in particular the South Asia region, whether it's Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, a region, sadly, Don, where Christian persecution is on the rise. Now, with your great work at the Tide, you are fighting back against that tide of Christian persecution. Tell us a bit about the situation right now for believers, followers of Jesus in South Asia, and why we should be so concerned.
We have a great privilege here in the U.S. that we have freedom of religion. And some of these countries will say that they allow freedom of religion. In fact, there was a Taliban leader who was quoted as saying, Christianity, we don't mind Christianity, but it just doesn't exist in Afghanistan. And we can prove otherwise because we have contacts from 2 radio broadcasts that target Central Asia, and Afghanistan is in that broadcast region, and we have responses from listeners who are responding and accepting Jesus. We've had one
in Afghanistan.
We've had a contact from a gentleman in Afghanistan who's very angry and wants us to take this off the air because his children will no longer go to the mosque with him since they're listening to this. There are many who have left Afghanistan who are refugees, and in fact that's how some of our team members were actually Afghan refugees who are helping us to reach back into Afghanistan. But there are believers there, and so some want to get out to get away from the persecution, but others, they want to live there. It's their country. They want to be free. They want to live out their faith, and they want to share their faith and to be able to express it, and that is not being allowed.
They're staying there to be a light, to spread the light of Christ in horrific darkness there. Are we finding more new converts as a result of the work of organizations like the Tide?
There is a growing discontent with Islam and the serious repression of any other religion and the laws that they have that just govern exactly how you can live, and especially for women who want to have more freedom. The executions that take place just for minor offenses, even just for saying anything that could be slightly interpreted as derogatory against the Quran or against Muhammad. It doesn't have to be outwardly expressed Christianity.
The penalty there is death.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan, no doubt. Don, this great darkness fell upon that country when the U.S. pulled out. It's so vital that you're broadcasting in that country, and only God can make that happen, right?
Right.
You've been a missionary, you've worked around the world, you've been in countries where persecution is high. What are some of the other hot spots you see globally that we as believers should be praying about, keeping an eye on, and trying to support however we can?
Some of the Middle East, which we're broadcasting there, mostly television in that area. But then going across, Pakistan is one where I have been to Pakistan, and I've been in a huge group of believers. Of course, there was a lot of security around. Just this week, I got a notification from a friend who's there. He works in the legal profession, and he's trying to help 2 teenagers who just in a conversation, somebody overheard them say something, and they are now in jail for blasphemy.
Our brothers and sisters are literally laying down their lives for Jesus around the world, and I believe your work is a major wake-up call.
I do what I do because I believe deeply in Jesus. Jesus is my Savior. There is no question about that, and He has called us to do this. He wants to be known by everyone in the world, and there's just so many who don't have access to gospel proclamation. And so the Tide Ministry, what we're doing is trying to get that access. We're trying to get the word out, and we do need the help of the church in North America, because everything that we do need that support, and believers here to pray for and to help finance outreach in these other areas. It's something that's so easy to overlook because we don't realize it, we don't see it enough. And I thank you for helping to raise awareness through this. You know, as people hear, you know, some of the atrocities that are happening. You know, I've been to India and I've met the widow of a man who was beheaded because he was out preaching the gospel. I've met others who were threatened, some who were locked in a house, and the doors were locked and the house was set on fire. Fortunately, some other people came and broke into the back and got them out. But what is so challenging and almost convicting for me is the fact that I have to ask myself, if I were faced with that same persecution, would I stand firm? You know, there's substance to the faith and the hope that people have when they're willing to give up their lives rather than to give up their faith in Jesus.
Some of the fastest growing churches in the world are in places like Iran and China, showing that what we've seen throughout history, you can't stop the gospel. And with ministries like the Tide continuing your great work, that will continue. The gospel will continue to spread far and wide. Don, thanks so much for all your work. We really appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, Don. Thank you. Folks, please keep the brave Christians in places like Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India in your prayers. They are an inspiration, willing to sacrifice all to follow Jesus. How many here in the West would do the same today? Something to think about. It's been hailed as a technological revolution that could change the course of humanity forever. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is taking the world by storm. So what are the benefits and potential dangers of AI? And what does it mean for believers and the church? I'm Erick Stakelbeck, and I'll be joined by a panel of experts to break down the rise of AI and what it could mean for you, your faith, and your future. It's coming up right here only on TBN and the TBN app. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.